Welcome back, focused learners. We're jumping right into this explainer today because, let's be honest, if you're here, you already know that writing the code, yeah, that's really only half the battle. The much harder half is actually working with other humans to make that code better. Today, we're tackling day 7 of our text, which is all about review communication. We're going to break down exactly what separates a genuinely constructive review from a totally destructive one. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The review communication problem. To actually communicate effectively, we first got to identify what actively harms the whole review process. I'm talking about the kind of phrasing that just stops collaboration dead in its tracks. For example, this code is bad. Seriously, think about how that feels to hear. Think about how completely unhelpful it is to read. So why exactly is this a roadblock? Well, I want you to really reflect on that blunt, kind of abrasive statement we just heard. If you get a comment that simply says, "This code is bad," what are you even supposed to do with that? The source text specifically calls this out as the exact type of phrase to avoid, simply because it is entirely subjective, it doesn't point to a specific line, it doesn't mention a specific logic error, and it offers absolutely zero path forward. It's just a dead end. It literally halts progress because it forces the author right into a defensive posture instead of a collaborative one. At the end of the day, it's a judgment, it's not a review. All right, let's leave that dead end behind us. Moving on to Section 2, writing professional comments. And this brilliantly illustrates where the magic actually happens. This is exactly where we transform from being just critics into true collaborators, stripping away all that subjective emotion and replacing it with objective feedback. Notice the immediate shift in tone and utility here. First, we have the totally unhelpful attack to avoid. This code is bad. And then we have our professional alternative to learn. Consider extracting this logic. See the difference? We're moving from a broad, useless insult to a targeted mechanical suggestion. The professional approach doesn't judge the developer at all. It just analyzes the code. Let's actually deconstruct these specific examples from our text, because every single word in these sentences is chosen for a very specific reason. Take the first one. Consider extracting this logic into a separate function to improve readability. Notice the word consider. It's instantly collaborative, right? Then it pivots to focus on objective mechanics, extracting this logic into a separate function. And finally, it gives the clear reason for the suggestion, to improve readability. Now, look at the second example. This condition may fail when the input is null. Again, it's just beautifully objective. It absolutely does not say, hey, you forgot to check for nulls. It focuses entirely on the code itself, this condition. It identifies a specific mechanical risk failing and the exact scenario where it happens, which is when the input is null. It's just a statement of pure fact that the original author can immediately go test and then fix. Now, what's really interesting here is how the source text conceptually links these terms. Readability isn't treated as some mysterious, totally subjective art form. According to the professional review comments we're learning to write, readability is the direct result of a specific mechanical action, extracting logic into a separate function. By breaking down complex logic into smaller, discrete functions, the code just inherently becomes easier to read. The text is basically teaching us that if you want to improve readability, you don't just sit there and complain that the code is messy. You suggest the specific structural change, like extracting logic, that actually creates that readability. Let's move to our next part and see how this builds. Section 3, the rewrite challenge. Look, understanding the theory behind professional communication is great and all, but the source text demands actual action. 20. I want you to really let that number sink in. 20. This isn't just a casual suggestion to maybe try this once or twice. No way. This is the exact specific practice mandate laid out in the day 7 text. 20 repetitions. That is exactly what it takes to actually start overriding those bad habits and cement a brand new professional communication style right into your daily workflow. So here is your clear, actionable mandate straight from the source. Practice. Rewrite 20 poor review comments professionally. You need to take 20 instances of "this code is bad" or other similarly unhelpful subjective comments and literally translate them. You've got to put in the work to find the objective mechanics hidden behind the frustration. Figure out if the logic needs extracting. Figure out if a condition will fail on a null input. Frame the critique around readability and function, absolutely not personal judgment. Completing this practice is literally the key to leveling up your teamwork and your code review communication skills. So, the crucial point is this. The gap between a frustrating roadblock and a highly functioning team It comes down to the exact words you type in that review box. Are you going to type, "This code is bad," or are you going to suggest extracting logic to improve readability? The source material gives you the blueprint, and it gives you the 20-comment practice mandate. The only question left to ask yourself is, how will your next 20 comments change? Take the rewrite challenge today. Apply these objective principles and watch your team's code and your collaboration completely transform. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy reviewing!